Did you know that the average person has over 6,000 thoughts each day, and each one has the power to direct your life's trajectory? In this captivating video, we'll explore one of the most profound teachings from Neville Goddard, the idea that what you focus on, you attract. If you've ever felt stuck in a cycle of negative experiences or wondered why certain dreams remain just out of reach, you're about to discover the remarkable influence your mindset truly holds. We'll unpack Goddard's timeless wisdom, offering real-life examples, practical steps, and invaluable insights you can start applying right away. Whether you're new to the concept or have dabbled in manifestation before, this video will spark fresh motivation and open doors to limitless potential. Stay tuned till the end, because the key to unlocking your ideal future might be just a thought away, waiting for you to claim it. Don't miss a second. When you begin to understand the power of your inner state, things start to get really interesting. You'll realize that your dominant thoughts and emotions are like a magnet, pulling situations and experiences into your life that mirror exactly what you're focusing on. Think of your mind as a compass, and your feelings are what point it in the right direction. If your inner state is rooted in positivity, you'll attract more situations that make you feel just that. If your state is drenched in negativity or doubt, the universe seems to reflect that back to you, too. The key here is in the dominant part of your inner state. It's not about having a good day or a bad day here and there. It's about the overall energy you're putting out into the world. So, what does this really mean? It's a lot simpler than it might seem at first. The experiences you have are not just random. They are an echo of what's going on inside of you. Your feelings, thoughts, and beliefs are constantly shaping your reality, even when you don't realize it. If you carry a sense of lack, fear, or anger in your heart, you'll start seeing more of those things show up in your life. On the flip side, when you nurture an attitude of abundance, love, and peace, the world seems to reflect those qualities back to you in surprising ways. But here's where it gets a little trickier. It's easy to slip into the trap of thinking that things outside of you are the cause of your problems. The job, the relationship, the economy, these things feel like they're controlling your world. But what Neville Goddard and many other spiritual thinkers emphasize is that it's not these external things that are the real problem. It's how your inner state is responding to them. Your state of mind, the emotions you allow to dominate your consciousness, is what sets the stage for what happens next. A lot of us aren't even aware of this inner state. We go through life reacting to everything around us without taking the time to notice how our inner state is shaping our experiences. It's easy to point fingers at what's happening in the outside world, but real transformation begins when you recognize that the shift needs to happen within. The moment you realize that your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your assumptions are guiding the flow of your life, that's when the magic happens. You've got to take ownership of your inner state if you want to see a change. This doesn't mean that you need to always be positive or suppress your emotions. It's about being aware of what's dominating your emotional landscape. Are you constantly feeling anxious? Are you often in a state of worry or doubt? If that's the case, then it's time to pause, take a breath, and start actively changing your inner state. You don't have to do it perfectly, but starting with small, intentional shifts in your thoughts and feelings can have a huge impact over time. It's about building a new habit, one where you become the master of your inner world instead of letting it be controlled by external events. Your dominant inner state is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you wake up every day expecting the worst, you're practically guaranteeing that the worst is what you'll experience. But if you wake up feeling gratitude, hope, and excitement for what the day will bring, you'll start noticing that those experiences start to show up more frequently. Remember, the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. If you're feeling abundant, if you're operating from a place of trust and certainty, then you'll attract experiences that reflect that energy. It's the law of attraction in its purest form, but with a twist. It's not just about wanting something, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts that thing. So, how do you change your dominant inner state? It starts with awareness, then intention, and finally, consistency. Once you realize that your internal world is guiding everything, you can start to shift the energy you're putting out. It may take time, but slowly, you'll notice a real difference. Your experiences will begin to match the new vibration you're cultivating, and you'll find that the world around you begins to transform in ways you never expected. When Neville Goddard talks about focusing on what you want, he's not just referring to a casual daydream or a fleeting thought. No, he's encouraging us to deeply feel what we desire, to immerse ourselves in it, as though it's already here. The key to making this work isn't merely thinking about something, it's about aligning your entire being with that vision. The thoughts and feelings you cultivate should echo the very essence of the reality you're aiming to create. But how exactly does that work? First off, let's talk about thoughts. They aren't just random sparks firing off in your brain, they shape the framework of your reality. And the power of thought isn't just in the content, but in its intensity. If you're constantly replaying thoughts of lack or limitation, those thoughts create a mental environment that repels the very things you want. It's like trying to grow a garden in soil that's too dry. On the other hand, when you focus on thoughts that nurture and support your desires, it's as if you're watering the garden of your dreams, allowing it to thrive. But thinking positively isn't enough. It's about more than just positive thoughts, it's about those thoughts feeling real. What does that mean? It means your thoughts have to be soaked in the emotions that come with having your desires fulfilled. Think about it, when you focus on something you truly want, it's not just a thought that flits by. It's an experience. You begin to feel it in your body. There's a shift in energy, a quiet excitement that bubbles up. That emotional response is key. Emotions are the bridge between your current reality and the reality you want to create. It's not enough to just imagine something, Neville's approach encourages you to live it. Feel the satisfaction of achieving your goal. Imagine how you would walk, talk, or breathe if you already had what you desired. This isn't about pretending, it's about syncing your emotional state with the frequency of what you want. When you start cultivating this emotional alignment, you're creating a vibrational match to your desires, and that match is what will start drawing your reality toward you. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be in a constant state of joy or bliss, nor does it mean you have to suppress negative feelings. What it's about is becoming conscious of your emotional landscape and choosing to shift your focus when you catch yourself drifting into feelings that don't serve your vision. It's okay to feel frustration or doubt, but recognize it, and shift your attention back to what you want. Focus on the feelings of fulfillment, of abundance, of confidence. You might wonder, but how do I know if I'm really aligned with my desires? One way to check is to ask yourself how much energy your thoughts and feelings are giving off. Are they empowering you, making you feel capable, worthy, and open to receiving? Or are they draining, pulling you into a cycle of doubt and fear? The more aligned your thoughts and feelings are with your desired reality, the more magnetic they become. They pull in opportunities, synchronicities, and moments that reflect that alignment. And here's the thing, this isn't a one-time effort. It's a practice. You need to consistently redirect your focus back to what you want, especially when life throws you off course. Every day, you'll have opportunities to fine-tune your emotional state and your thoughts. It's about building the habit of choosing what you focus on, and making that focus not just a mental exercise but a lived experience. Every time you align your thoughts and feelings with your desired reality, you're taking one more step toward making it real. The more you nurture this practice, the more natural it will feel. Over time, your inner world will start reflecting the external world you're striving for. And that, ultimately, is how you attract what you focus on. When you really think about it, there's something powerful about focus. It's not just about where your attention goes, but where you let it stay. One of the most profound teachings Neville Goddard offers is the idea of persistently dwelling on the fulfilled state, not the current reality that surrounds you. It's almost like setting up camp in a place where everything has already unfolded perfectly, even when your eyes show a very different picture. Think about it this way: we live in a world that loves to give us immediate feedback, right? It constantly reminds us of what is, what's happening now, and what we have. But Neville teaches us that, to truly bring something into our experience, we have to ignore that noise. We can't let ourselves be swayed by the present moment, no matter how tempting it may be to check the current score. Instead, we need to go beyond that, into the feeling of having what we desire, right here and now. This means that you stop letting the current circumstances dictate how you feel, how you think, or even how you act. You start to live in the feeling of the end result. It's not about pretending. It's about understanding that there's an energetic shift that happens when you align with the end goal, even before it physically manifests. It's as if you're seeing the world with new eyes, eyes that aren't fooled by what's physically in front of you, but by what you know is already in your world, even if it's invisible to everyone else. It's this persistence in imagining the fulfilled state that actually starts shaping the future. The more you live in that state mentally, the more your world will gradually rearrange itself to align with it. But here's the catch: the more you dwell on the fulfillment, the more natural it will become to see that reality unfolding before you. This isn't some one-off thought experiment. It's about cultivating a mental habit, a way of living that refuses to be shaken by what's happening in the moment. What Neville really emphasizes is that you need to live in the end, in the feeling of the end. This feeling is key because it's not about waiting for a certain event to happen before you feel happy or successful or loved. It's the opposite. You feel those things first, deeply, in your bones. And when you feel it, that's when the world begins to shift and reflect back the same energy you're putting out. And let's be honest, this doesn't come easy. We're so conditioned to respond to the world around us that it can feel like we're fighting against our own instincts. We see a problem or a challenge, and it's almost like an automatic reflex to react to it, to deal with it in the moment. But if we keep doing that, we're just feeding more of the same. It's the same loop that keeps us stuck. The key is to choose to consistently shift your energy, choosing, over and over, to step into the version of you that's already got it all handled. You must refuse to let appearances fool you into thinking you're anything less than what you're becoming. It's almost like becoming a different version of yourself, a version that exists in that future. So instead of focusing on the stress or the gaps in your current situation, you persistently return to the feeling of already having what you want. The trick is not in forcing the world to change, but in keeping your attention on the version of you who has already made it. And you don't need to force anything to happen. You just need to continue holding that feeling, trusting that the external world will gradually shift to match what you're projecting inwardly. It might take time, and it might not always look the way you thought it would, but with persistence, you start to notice changes that weren't there before. They may be subtle at first, but they grow louder the longer you stay in the feeling of the fulfilled state. Your mind will naturally align, and then, so will your reality. So the next time life shows up with its current drama, instead of buying into it, remember Neville's advice: persistently dwell on the end result. Stay in the fulfillment. Don't get distracted by what's happening now. The magic is in how long you can stay there. And trust me, that's where the real shift happens. When you start to grasp the idea that your thoughts and focus have the power to reshape your reality, it's like a light bulb going off. It's not just wishful thinking or some magical theory, it's a deep, almost undeniable truth. When you direct your mental energy and attention consistently, you're literally shifting the very fabric of your external world. Sounds a bit wild, right? But when you really think about it, it's easier to accept once you realize that everything, from your environment to your relationships, is shaped by the energy you consistently emit. Here's the catch: it's not about a fleeting thought here and there. It's about creating a steady flow of focus. The mind is constantly at work, weaving patterns and creating new connections based on what you focus on most. If you wake up and let your mind wander aimlessly, chances are, you're just reacting to whatever comes your way. But if you make a conscious decision to focus on something specific, whether it's your goals, your desired emotions, or a vision of success, then you begin to direct the course of your life. It's almost like putting your brain on autopilot in a direction you want to go, rather than letting the winds of the world carry you wherever they please. Here's the part that gets really interesting. The more consistent you are in your mental focus, the more you start to change the external conditions that seem to be out of your control. It's not magic, it's the natural result of focused energy. If you consistently think thoughts that are aligned with your goals or desired outcomes, you'll start to see your reality shift to accommodate those thoughts. This isn't something that happens overnight, but the consistent effort you put into steering your focus will gradually lead to external changes that reflect your inner state. Your world is a mirror of your mind, so what you focus on over time will show up in tangible ways. Think of your mental focus as the rudder of a ship. If your focus is shaky, or if it changes direction all the time, you're going to be drifting, moving wherever the current takes you. But if you consistently point that rudder in one direction, the ship will eventually follow. This is true for every area of your life. Whether it's career, relationships, or personal growth, the mental direction you choose to focus on will steer you toward your destination. And when you keep that focus steady, the external conditions that used to seem random or beyond your control will begin to bend and shape themselves around the direction you're choosing to go. Now, let's be real for a second. Staying consistently focused isn't always easy. We live in a world full of distractions, and it's tempting to let our thoughts wander to things that don't serve us. But when you commit to holding that vision in your mind, despite what's happening around you, you create a kind of momentum. It's like planting a seed and nurturing it every day. At first, it feels like nothing is happening, but with time, those thoughts begin to take root. Then, as you keep watering them, they start to sprout and grow. Eventually, they break through the surface and become something you can touch, see, and experience. It's also important to remember that the focus you maintain isn't just about thinking positive thoughts all day. It's about becoming deeply connected to the emotions that accompany those thoughts. It's the feeling of already having what you desire that energizes the process. It's the mental and emotional commitment to seeing things as you want them to be, not just wishing they could be. That consistency in thought and feeling builds a powerful force that has no choice but to influence your external reality. In the end, reshaping your external conditions isn't about waiting for the world to change first. It's about aligning your mental focus so powerfully with what you want that your external world has no choice but to catch up. When you lock in that focus, you'll begin to notice little shifts. Maybe at first they're subtle, but they'll grow stronger over time. The universe will start aligning itself with your thoughts. It's like you're setting the stage for something new to unfold, something that matches the reality you've been focused on for so long. Consistent mental focus isn't just a passive act of thinking, it's an active process of reshaping your world. Neville Goddard had this powerful insight that can be both liberating and challenging at the same time. Your life is a mirror reflecting your inner assumptions. It's not just some abstract concept or a nice-sounding phrase to say in a motivational speech, it's a deep truth about the way we experience reality. If you really let this idea sink in, it could shift everything about how you approach life. Let's dive into what that actually means. The assumptions Neville's talking about aren't just surface-level thoughts or fleeting moments of worry. They are those deep, unconscious beliefs that we hold about ourselves, others, and the world around us. They're like the quiet undercurrent of our mental and emotional world, guiding us without us even realizing it. And because we hold these assumptions so deeply, they end up shaping everything that shows up in our lives. It's as if we're walking around wearing invisible glasses that filter everything we see, hear, and experience. If those glasses are tinted with the belief that the world is a place of scarcity, or that we're not deserving of love, then guess what? That's exactly what we'll keep experiencing. At first, it might feel like life is happening to us, like the circumstances, events, and people we encounter are all random or completely out of our control. But Neville flips that perspective. He suggests that it's not random at all. Life is constantly reflecting back to us the things we believe about ourselves and the world. Think of it like this: the world around you is simply a reflection of the pictures you hold inside. If you have a picture in your mind that life is hard, that money is difficult to come by, or that you'll never find the right people, then the mirror of life will reflect exactly that back to you, time and time again. But here's where it gets interesting and empowering. The beauty of this idea is that it means you can change your life. You're not at the mercy of external circumstances. By shifting your inner assumptions, you can literally shift what the world reflects back at you. It's like you're the artist of your own reality, and your assumptions are the brushstrokes. If you want a different picture, you start by changing the colors you're using on the canvas of your mind. But how do you change those assumptions? Well, it's not about wishing them away or denying that they exist. It's about becoming aware of them. A big part of the process is taking a step back and looking at the recurring patterns in your life. What do they say about what you believe? Maybe you're attracting relationships where you feel unimportant. Maybe opportunities feel like they always slip through your fingers. That's the mirror showing you that somewhere deep inside, you're holding an assumption that you're unworthy, or that success is for other people, not for you. Once you catch a glimpse of these assumptions, you have the power to start replacing them with new ones. It's not about forcing yourself to believe something immediately, it's about gently shifting your focus. Start with a small shift. If you believe that money is always a struggle, start assuming that abundance is your natural state. If you think you'll always be stuck, begin assuming that growth and opportunity are part of your journey. Over time, as you keep cultivating these new assumptions, your life will begin to reflect them back to you. It's a law of the universe: what you assume to be true on the inside will eventually show up on the outside. Of course, this doesn't mean that you'll never face challenges. Life is full of lessons and growth, but the way you experience those challenges will change. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, you'll start to see them as stepping stones, each one helping you to solidify the new assumptions you're forming. The more you consciously choose to believe in the truth of your new assumptions, the more the mirror of life will reflect them back. So, remember, your life isn't just a random series of events, it's a mirror. And the best part is that you have the power to change what it reflects, starting from within. By changing your inner assumptions, you're not just passively waiting for life to change, you're actively participating in creating a reality that aligns with the truest vision of who you are. And that's pretty powerful. And that's all for today, Modern Stoics. Remember, what you focus on expands, so choose your thoughts wisely and align your focus with what you truly desire. The universe is always responding to your vibrations, so make them count. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. I'd love to hear what you're focusing on, so leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Keep your focus sharp, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next one.